Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's Monday morning. It's October 23rd, and we are still here. We're present, and so there's so much to be thankful for. I came in this morning, and it has been just weighing down on my mind. Um, First of all, I got an email last night, an interesting email, but as I come into the building and my students come in and we got settled down for work, and then we had some more who came in, and the disruption started. And in my head I keep saying, where are we going? What does the future looks like for our children as it relates to their education? When I went to school, we used to have A class, B class, and C class. A class was the kids who were able to just go, to grasp quickly, and they get to move on uninterrupted. B class, little bit of, struggles, but they were able to get the work that they could manage so they could build and move on up back to the A class. C class were the children who really struggled. They had no foundation. They had mental blocks. They had a hard time learning. But they were putting us in a place where they were able to read at the basic, very basic level, where they would continue to build, because we don't learn the same way. All of us do not mature the same way. And therefore, some students are quick learners depending on the environment they're in, and how much conversations are going on, and how much words they're learning, and all of that. And then you have the children who might be stuck with a poor grandmother who doesn't talk a lot, is not involved in much. All she knows is to go to the bushes and come back, and never got an education for herself, and she couldn't help the kid, and so the struggles are real. But as we move forward, and instead of getting better, our world become quite interesting. We had, when Laura Bush husband was the president, and she figured that her mission was to make sure that no child left behind. Nobody stopped to think about how to make this work, because putting all children together because we don't want any kid to feel this way and feel that way, it's my opinion that that was a wrong thing. Children learn differently. One size does not fit all of our children. And because it does not, it is unfair. And parents who sit down and, why is my child not in that? And why is my child not? And why? It's just like a game. The kid is not strong enough to be a lead player, but they're given a chance to build, to learn the sport, to build little by little until they're able to be the first ones, the starters. But parents don't want that anymore. Parents want their children in the top tier, and when the kids cannot manage it, then they start feeling less of themselves. They start disrupting and destroying. They start giving up. And then we get to today, and we see, research-based and research-based, but the research is not done with kids who look like our children. Researches are not done in the environment our children are raised in. So when we sit and we put a little thing together, we get a doctorate degree, and we say, this one size fits all of our children. It is so wrong. And parents, you have to be proactive as it relates to your children's education. When we have people who talk about a system of schools, and you have a small city that you are empowering with this system of schools, and you have the state running their programs separately from the public school system, and then you have the, what they call them? Wait, no, I have to get this. Because they are a private entity that sits there, and they are creating their own thing, and all they're driving home is kids passing, but they're not looking at the whole child. So now you have all these systems coming together. We have choice, they have school choices. So kids now, instead of a community-based school, where the community can focus on supporting the children, where after-school programs are there, where teachers are able to sit and tutor and support the kids where they are. Kids are bussed in. So at the end of the day, kids who would really benefit from support, they have to be bussed home. Parents cannot come to pick them up. All of these challenges become the norm. And so we see little by little how the education system is changing. We see years ago we had schools where children who had mental challenges, who need to scream and who need to punch something and who needs to get out their anger, were able to go to schools like those where it was okay for them to scream, where it was okay for them to punch something, because they had padded walls and different accommodations for these children. And then they took all of that away. Because of these systems of schools, we have the magnet schools, where they're not public school per se, because they're sucking out the best kids. They wait for you to train them, and at 5th grade, they take the best school kids from the public school itself, and now you're left with the kids who are struggling. So you have more struggling kids than you have kids performing. Because now the magnet school, that's how they call themselves, magnet schools. Because they think that their kids turn out the best. But they only can turn out the best when we, the public school teachers, have laid those foundations. And then they just wait around. And at 5th grade, when the kids are ready for middle school, they take them, they invite them all of a sudden. Oh, your child has a placement at this magnet school. And we are left with the hardcore ones to work with. And I consistently say, why are they taking kids at the basic? Start at the basic, build them up, and continue with them. Show us how you do it. But it's not so. And so we're left with the kids, because there's nowhere for them to go. So you, the teacher, must work with 15, 19, I have 19 students, but you must find a way to reach those 19 students at the 6 different levels that are in your classroom. And we wonder why teachers run away. And you wonder why we who are trying to stay because we do care are getting to that boiling point where we wonder if it's worth it. You have 19 students, and you have 10 of them below grade level. When I say below, I don't mean 1 grade level below. You have them 3, 4 grade levels below. You have those who have their needs, as we call it, special needs. You have 5 of those. So when you compile those who have special needs, and when I say special needs, I mean special needs. When you combine those with the 10 kids who are not doing so well academically, the struggles are real. And when we have people who, we don't look at the big picture, We're just looking at outcome. What happens here? Why isn't this kid on task? Why is this kid not doing? How are you planning to? And I'm looking at them like, where's the support you're putting in? What part are you playing? Where's the role you're supposed to play? Because people don't care anymore. All we look at is big administrations, right? You go to the district office, you have director of directors. You have gone on the days when superintendents were out there, sleeves rolled up, and visiting schools and talking to kids and talking to principals and doing that. All that. Everybody gets a doctorate degree, and all of a sudden everybody's delegating. And now, instead of being able to put people in the classrooms to support those children who are so desperately in need of that extra bit of support in the classroom. Nope, we have to get an assistant superintendent, and then we need a third person to the assistant superintendent. We have to get an education director. We have to get a math director. We have to get a reading language arts director. And under those directorships, we have the other people under them. This one doing this one doing that. And under those, you have, and it's a whole huge administration where funds are being taken away from the classroom. And everybody has an agenda, and everybody comes and they're pushing the agenda. Who are they pushing it on? The teachers, right? We have to carry their agendas while finding a way to reach all the different children in our classroom. And we continue to force that square peg in that circle. Forcing the square peg in that circular hole. And even though it can't go down in there, and we keep twisting and turning, we're still forcing it. We're not making changes. We just keep forcing that square peg, that four-sided thing, in that circular thing. And then we complain about outcome. We complain about proficiency. We don't even look at the progress they make. All we're looking at is proficiency. And we go right back to what's going to happen to our children and their education. What's going to happen? COVID came, and people who live in places where it was tough before COVID became tougher after COVID, because more children were abused. We might not have heard about it, but you see the attitude of the kids, you see the behavior, listen to their language. They were given a tablet or a device. They were given free Wi-Fi because everybody was trying to cope, but nobody was thinking about outcome. Nobody was thinking about what happens after. So all these kids with these laptops who were going to websites that nobody was monitoring, who were spending more hours on these things, who were spending so many hours on these devices, not communicating with human beings, not utilizing those emotions the way they should be utilized, not giving love. Everybody angry because everybody's on top of each other, and everybody's frustrated, and everybody's fearful, and everybody's going through all these things without support. And when it was over, the classroom doors open up, the schools open up, and they push the kids right back in without the kind of support they needed. So all these kids who needed the extra mental health support, who needed somebody, one teacher cannot do it all. And we keep saying it. One teacher cannot meet all the needs of the children that they teach. The needs are great, for the kids in the upscale neighborhoods whose parents, they had huge spaces for the kids to get around. They still had conversations. They were able to keep up with what's going on and was able to encourage and educate their children. They came out ahead. But what happened to our children who did not have access to all of that? Many of our kids live in one-bedroom apartments. So just imagine how tough it is every day you get up. As they say, stay inside under lockdown. You know, choking it was. I was in a 4-bedroom house with a finished basement, huge basement, and it was tough for me. Compared to these kids who weren't able to talk to their friends, weren't able to talk to other family members. They were just stuck right there. And so the saga continues, guys. And we talk about so much, and we make so much plans, and we have so many plans, and we have all these things, but at the root of it, nothing is being done. So all the plans that are being made is only for those on that side. Mental health is real, guys. We have to take care of our mental health. Mental illness is real. Our children are struggling, and it's a lot. It's more on them because, as I said, they're trying to find who they are. You have some kids, they draw a moustache on their faces because they're trying to figure out, am I this way or am I that way? Who am I? Whom do I want to love? Who show me more appreciation? Where am I going? How am I getting there? On top of it, so the struggles at home. Not enough to eat, nobody to wash their clothes or to care for them the way they ought to be cared for. And the struggles continue. So today my heart is broken, and it's broken because, I came in and I came in a good way. I actually, I froze their drinks and I brought it in. And as I said, I started doing the Capri Suns. So, see, I didn't even open this one yet because I had some other things that I prepared for them. I had these are juices, they're Tropicana from Welch's that I had. So those are what I gave out this morning. I even went as far as cooling some ginger ale, because sometimes you have some kids who are taking things and they need something to sip on, So I get these done. See, I bring them in for them. I cool them, and I bring them in for my students. And regardless of how they disrupt and how they behave, you know that if they're given a little incentive, if they're given a little something, it goes a long way. Because a lot of them, is it because they want to behave this way? No, they just can't help it. So what do you do as an educator? It's just unfortunate that you cannot reach all of them. This morning, so many of them needed so much support. And you're asking, and I went and I, sorry. I went and I sat with them. And yet you still had, you can sit with two, but then you have one at the other end. You put them in a certain way. People will come to ask, why don't you separate them? Separate them where? It's better to put them in a small setting to themselves so they can, hopefully, you can teach the ones who are ready. But when you separate them and one is calling from that end and they're disrupting the whole group who wants to learn, it is more chaotic. So everybody comes and they're asking you why, and nobody, if it was them to handle it, they can't. But they keep asking you why. So today I say, guys, remember, you have to love your teachers, lift them up, encourage them, because it's a tough lift. It's a heavy lift. It's a heavy lift. So please encourage them the best way you can, because the system of education, it's interesting. So make it a great day by choice, my people. Make it a great day. Regardless, make it a great day.